Ladies and gentlemen, today we're taking a look at some of these little stashies that are coming out of this cache. It may just look like a clay ball at first here, but hang with me here and I'll show you how this is actually a conglomerate with all kinds of gemstones put inside of it. It is a little effigy and it does have little characters on it. This little white paint that you guys can see, it's all intentional. You can see how part of this is actually a gemstone. This is looks perhaps like a little bare-faced character, and we can turn it around to see these little human paintings that are on it. Kind of like the moon, maybe. Little bird heads that come out. You can see how the little carving for the open mouth, the nose of a black-faced fella there. And then a white face. See the spot in the middle of the eye, like a skull. Little duality thing going on there. Of course, you're seeing the painting for the other one. Crazy style of art, eh? Little tiny silhouettes here you can see. Little cone head alien head figures. We all know that down in Sri Lanka they carve the heck out of the stones out there. Beautiful little duck head represented here, just keeping it more simple. And so we know that it's possible, and that what they did is they carved into the bedrock as like a way to kind of honor what was going on. So in these little spots and these little holes here, I'm actually finding iron arrowheads. This is a metal arrowhead here. You can see how it's rusted. It's very thin, pointed like a little arrowhead. You might be able to start to see the shine on it. It's very fragile, so I'm not going to handle it too much. And there's our sun. So you can see the etchings and the markings on it. I love a video when you start it in the shade and then it becomes all sunny like this. Let's go ahead and take another look at this one in the sun so you guys can see it in all its glory. There we go. Got a little bare-faced character perhaps. Really pretty one. So, might have a little mammoth head here. See what I mean? Looks like he has a load on his back. A lot of these mammoths I'm noticing, they have like little strings and things on them. They put harnesses on them. There were harnesses on the mammoths, confirmed, 100%. That's just what the art shows. Anyway, like I said, we have these steel little arrowheads, and we'll go ahead and take a peek at a few of these other little stashes together if you guys want. Let's fix our focus for just documentation, you know, just to kind of show you guys the things that come out of here. Many times they're just little tiny pieces of green gem. You can see how just pulled out a polished, if I can get it straight for us here, there's a little polished gemstone right here. You can see how it's see-through. It's almost shaped like a little bird point, the tiniest little bird point, and that's more than likely what it is, with the tip broken off of it. So it's left as a ceremonial piece. You can see, you can actually see through this. It's tiny, but that's what they left us here. Also left us just little green stones, lots of nice pretty green stones and crystals, and they kind of lodged a lot of this stuff in here. I'm going to go ahead and put this green crystal one in my pocket. I'm doing a horrible job, guys, sorry about this. All right, here we are. Maybe I'll edit that out if I can, but just those little spikes here. Let me go ahead and get rid of this. All right, yeah, definitely gonna have to edit this video. All right, let's kind of start over. We started with the looking at that one there, but we have these little bird effigies here. All right, so let's try it again. Hi everyone, So we have a bunch of these artifacts that are stashed inside of these little sections. They lodged stones in them and then put all these little bird points, and this is actually an iron arrowhead. This is metal. Don't very often find metal out here. We do, but not very often. Definitely not in the shape of what's probably an effigy, but was at one point used as a spear point. So it's very rare to find these little metal pieces here. These are tiny little duck heads and so little effigies here. We quickly took a glance at this clay object that was stuck in there as well. There's lots of little faces and images on it as well. And just inside of here, this was the lodge stone, the stone that was lodging everything together, and just the little ripples and the markings on it you might be able to start to see in the shadows there. Little faint images of human beings on these. So this is actually an original piece, I believe, of the cedar that was placed in here ceremonially. So we have chunks of cedar that are in here that were just left in here. I can give it a smell, but I can already see the red in there. This is a very ancient old cedar that just got washed out. Go ahead and put it back in its spot. It just fits perfect in there. We don't have cedar trees here any longer in this area of North Carolina. But there's a bunch just sitting here, and so I thought to maybe take a look inside and pull out some of the gemstones that were inside of here. We have some very polished and shiny gemstones. Let's take a look at a few of them in some different areas here. So let's go ahead and start off right here. Since it's in the sun, we can kind of start to pull out some of the rocks that were stored in here. You'll start to see all these little crystals and little green stones. I'm gonna go ahead and put them up here. See all the little tiny crystals? And oftentimes you'll find bird points and things in here too. So that's kind of what we were finding over there. So let's look at this and I'll show you what I mean by all the little green bird points and little blades that are in here. They're all shaped actually like little birds, but you can see how they all have this little napped edge on them. They're ceremonial pieces. And they're actually tiny little effigies. You can see how they're little bird-shaped points, and they're actually turned into animals and things like that. But there's a bunch of them here. You see that little blade? Some of them are very neat and thin, like that one. Go and take a better look at it. Ta-da! Just like that. It's like magic. You want to find some points, just go into these little sections. I mean, they built this creek. They built this stone. This is all preserved, and all this stuff is left as a ceremony. So all this stuff is going to go right back in here. I might keep a couple of the points that I see out of here, but you can see how they lodged everything in. And they did it purposefully. I can show you some examples of that. You could say, oh, just over time this would happen. Yeah, it would. But first of all, let's acknowledge the fact that the entire creek and rock was carved by them. So let's acknowledge that, you know, right off the bat. This is just a piece of acorn, but, you know, they even made art out of this kind of stuff. They made it into little bird heads and things. It's just what they did. They're pretty wild and creative. And that's what they did here too. This is actually a little effigy, believe it or not. It's not just a piece of bark. It's stuck in here. And I don't know how long ago this all happened, but it can't be that long ago. So, see a bunch of these little polished stones. I'll just transfer them over to this one. All kinds of neat little stuff in here. You know, we find gold birds in the bottom of these oftentimes. Lots of this beautiful green stone. Really cool. There's probably some more down there at the very bottom, and that's usually where the nicest stuff is, but I'm gonna go ahead and just stuff all that back in there for now. We have a few more to take a peek at if you'd like. There's some blades just sitting right here, you can see. Very thin, and that edge on there, it's very nice. Kind of just showing off what they could do. You know? Let's take a look at a few more. There's some gnarly stone ones. Let's take a look down here. There's a chance in this big hole here that we'll find a larger spear point. See, here's the stones. I'll show you how they lodge them in here. So they put all their tools inside of this section here and lodged them in. Pretty green stone. See how these are just paleo points. Pretty colors though. And just on the edges here, you can see the carvings perhaps. We're gonna have duck heads, and you know, each one of these, there's a squirrel girl. It's this one's got a little orange paint on it, red paint still. It's got that very cool crested end on it. Yep, little bird here facing to the left, of course. That crested end is the tail of the bird. You guys can probably see that pretty well, I hope. Just the bird effigy here. And really, you know, facing to the right, it almost looks better with the way that the sun is. But I like the paint that's still on that. The way that it sat, just like that. You can see the way the bird is really well represented there too. Just popped out very well. And from what we were just calling a paleo point, right? You can take a look at these artifacts, you know. Think about it a little bit. You guys see these? Can't just flip them out and forget about them. Take a close look at them. Someone took the time to put them here. Might as well try to learn from it. Right? You guys know. The blades on these, the edges, extremely sharp. See the little bird points? Don't want to just flick too many off my hand because I know I got some good ones in there. You can see the multicolored stones and the blades. The blade that's right here. Get our focus. There we go. Put that blade over here. There are some nice ones in here. Well, this isn't the most exciting. So I appreciate you hanging out while I do it. If anything, it's nice and relaxing with the water here. So they actually created the creek the way that this is done. They put this little line inside there. See the stone wall? As a cut to make the water go around this huge statue that they've built. This whole thing that we're standing on and sitting on right here, all these lines and markings in here, as you guys know, they're all carved. This is all created. There's some more. Whoa. I'm getting into kind of like a different section of it here. Let's bring it into the sun so you can see them a little better the way they shine. You can probably see some of the paint and things better too that way. Just pretty little shiny polished gemstones. There's a big effigy here. There's an iridescent looking stone here. There are gold chunks in here as well. There's precious gems and crystals, and like we just found, you know, a metal spear point as well, which I'm trying to keep an eye out for those now. You're starting to see the same type of little blades over and over again, right? There's some more of them. There's another nice one right there. Oh. This black thing. Wow. Don't know. There's some nice ones here though. Beautiful little gemstones, polished stones, tiny little gateway. Tiny little bird effigies. That's kind of insane to think about how they did this. I guess it was just a celebration of nature, right? All right, I'm not going to dig into that anymore. Some very beautiful, you know, stones that came out of there, though. Some more than beautiful art will be in each and every one. You can dive into all these and see the little, if I can get our focus, the little faces and images that are going to be on all these. It's hard to believe that just this little stone with all these little markings and lines on it. It's going to be little images, little birds, little humans. It's the same styles of things over and over again. So, really nice, really neat. I guess we can end real quick by taking one more quick look at this, as long as our son cooperates with us. So, this thing's kind of interesting. It's found right here on top with a lot of the other stuff. I think we can start off right here, the silver face that you guys can see, and white facing to the left. Might see some other characters painted in. Pretty crazy. Why did they do it? I don't know. Why does anyone create art? Pretty weird, pretty weird. All right, everyone. I hope you had a wonderful day and a wonderful time watching the video. If you did, hit the like button, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye-bye.